well, hang on, I'm gonna start right. Good morning, and thank you for joining us for Money Smart Day 2025. Our first session this morning is how GMU students can avoid fraud and scams. With us, we are pleased to have Ari Lazarus joining us from the FTC's Division of Consumer and Business Education, where he's an education specialist. And I will turn it over to him for this presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, Taylor. Hi, everyone. Like Taylor said, I'm Ari Lazarus, and I'm a consumer education specialist at the FTC. It's Money Smart Day, and to celebrate, we'll be talking about how to spot, avoid, and report scams. I'm going to shut my video off just so we keep the so it doesn't go off. But let's get started. Okay. All right, so first, let me tell you a little bit about the FTC. As the nation's consumer protection agency, the FTC works to stop fraud, deception, and unfair business practices and protect all communities from these bad business practices. Staff do this in several different ways. One, through enforcement, the FTC does investigations, sues companies and people that break the law, and tries to get money back to people whenever possible. Secondly, through education and outreach, the FTC tells people about their rights and businesses about their responsibilities. And the FTC works to amplify its messages and reach a broader audience by building partnerships with trusted sources in the communities that we serve. We hope that after our presentation today, we can continue working with you to this end. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the overview of today. So here's what we're going to go over. We'll start with top frauds reported to the FTC, and we'll talk about spotting, avoiding, or reporting scams and identity theft, and then go over some free FTC resources that you can use and share with others on campus. Okay.
Hey, Ari, can I interrupt for just a second? I personally am not seeing the slides advance.
Oh, really? Okay.
So maybe we could try to unshare and reshare or see what's going on there.
Sure. Okay. How about now?
Yes, that's much better. Thank you so much. Sorry for that interruption.
Sure. Yeah, no, thank you for telling me. Okay. So when people report fraud or other bad business practices to the FTC, that information goes into a database called Sentinel, which also includes reports that people have filed with contributors like the Better Business Bureau and other state and federal government agencies. So here are the 2024 top 5 most reported frauds with impersonator scams at number 1. I'll be talking about impersonator scams and other types of scams in just a little bit. But you'll see number 1 is imposters, number 2 is online shopping and negative reviews, number 3 is business and job opportunities, 4 is investments, and then 5 is internet services. So let's jump into those a little bit more. Okay, but before we kind of go into those topics, I did want to also discuss kind of age and fraud. So every year, people of all ages report losing millions and sometimes billions of dollars to fraud. Data shows that older adults are actually less likely to report losing money to fraud than younger people. But when older adults do report losing money, they tend to lose much more than younger people. So I wanted to flag that because I know many folks watching this will be younger, and I think that statistic can be kind of surprising. So I wanted to make sure and flag that. Okay, so now let's talk about different types of scams, how to protect yourself, and what to do if you are scammed. Okay, so I mentioned that impersonator scams were the number 1 most reported fraud in 2024. So this is a broad category that includes scams that impersonate well-known businesses, government agencies, or someone you know, like a family member or a friend, and it also includes romance scams. In 2024, there were over 845,000 reports about impersonator scams with over 2.95 billion in reported losses, or about 1 in 5 of the folks who reported experiencing these scams. And this is just the tip of the iceberg because research tells us that less than 5% of people who experience a scam actually report it. Okay, so now I want to walk you through a kind of complex impersonation scam that we're seeing and how to avoid it. So as I mentioned before, scammers pretend to be from a well-known company or the government or both, and they tell you convincing stories to steal your money. It often starts with an unexpected call or message about a routine problem from scammers pretending to be someone that they aren't. It could be someone claiming that they're with Amazon and calling about a suspicious charge, or they could deliver a fake pop-up warning about a computer virus that tells you to call for tech support. If you answer the call or call the number on the pop-up, things quickly escalate. While looking into the quote issue, the scammer says that they've discovered a bigger problem. They might say that your name is linked to serious crimes like money laundering or drug trafficking, or that your bank account has been hacked. And these, of course, are all lies to get you into a panic so that you can't think clearly. So then the scammer transitions to someone they say can help you, quote, fix the problem. This person often claims to work for the government, but they don't. They're also a scammer who's involved in the scheme to steal your money and to convince you they're with the government and gain your trust. The second scammer might use a fake employee name and ID badge, or they might use the name of a real government agency, including the FTC, and sometimes they even use real names of real FTC officials. Okay, so then the lies continue. The scammer says your money isn't safe and you have to move it to, quote, protect it. And that's when you know it's a scam, because someone who really works for the government won't tell you to move your money because it isn't safe. They won't tell you to put your money in a federal safety locker because there's no such thing. And they won't tell you to give cash or gold to someone who they'll send to pick it up. And you can learn more about impersonation scams at ftc.gov/impersonator. Okay, switching gears, online shopping was another top reported fraud in 2024. And this includes things like your order showing up different than advertised or damaged or never coming at all. Scammers often pose as real companies online or fake companies to try to get your money or personal information. And they may post fake ads for things on social media or other websites, and even use a real company's logo to try to seem legit. But then they take your money and don't send what's ordered. And when you shop online, especially from an unfamiliar retailer, here's a few things to know. One, you want to check out the company or the product. You can search online for the name plus terms like review, complaint, or scam, and see what other people are saying about it. Read the seller's description of the product carefully. If the seller has name brand goods at big discounts, they may be fakes. Second, you want to look at the terms of the sale. Check the total price, including taxes, shipping, and handling. Take a look at the expected delivery date, the refund policy, who pays for return shipping, if there's a restocking fee, and make sure they're what you expected. And lastly, pay by credit card if you can. You'll get some protections under federal law if something goes wrong that way. Okay, so the third top reported fraud in 2024 was business and job opportunity scams, which include job scams and fake employment agencies. And I want to highlight this because data shows that both reports and losses jumped a lot. Between 2020 and 2024, reports nearly tripled and losses grew from 90 million to 501 million. We also know that job scams is one of the top scams that young people report to the FTC. So let's jump into how these work. Okay, so scammers advertise jobs the same way legitimate employers do, online, in ads on job sites and social media, in newspapers, and sometimes on TV and radio. The wording can change, but the hallmarks of, a fake job stay the same. They'll say things like you'll get rich working just a few hours a day. But then they'll demand sensitive information like your social security number before they hire you. which could lead to identity theft. Other scam job listings may ask you to pay for training or certifications that are fake, unnecessary, or both. The FTC has been getting more reports of a new type of gamified job scam called task scams. Task scams usually start with an unexpected text offering online work. They say you can, quote, make good money by doing simple repetitive tasks such as liking videos or rating product images online. And once you complete each task, you'll see an increasing tally of your supposed earnings that they ask you to download, but they're fake. And at some point, the app or online platform will ask you to deposit your own money to complete your next set of tasks to get your supposed fake earnings out of the app. But if you make the deposit, not only is your real money gone, but you'll never get those fake earnings you thought that you were getting. To avoid task and other job scams, never pay anyone to get a job or to get paid. That's a sure sign of a scam. Okay, another example of a job scam we hear about involves car wrapping. In these scams, you'll get a text or an email or see an ad on social media saying you'll get paid to wrap your car and drive around. Often these scammers target college students looking for a way to take a few extra bucks. The offers can sound good, $600 to $700 a week to drive around with an ad for some well-known company, usually an energy drink or something. And this scam tends to play out the same way. If you respond to the text, email, or ad, the scammer will send you a check to deposit. They'll say, use some of that money to pay the quote installer who will wrap your car with the ad. And the scammer will also tell you how to pay the quote installer by money order, with a payment app, with cryptocurrency, or by wiring money, which are all ways that let them get the money quickly. And that check that you just deposited, that was fake, which means the money you sent is coming out of your own pocket. When you deposit a check, the funds might show up in your bank account after you deposit it. They can take the bank weeks to figure out that the check was fake. And when they do, they'll take the money back. So if you sent money to the scammer, you'll have to repay the bank too. This type of thing is common across a lot of different job scams. So the takeaway is, if anyone gives you a check, tells you to deposit it, and then send money back, that's a scam. Again, never pay for the promise of a job. Anyone who tells you to pay for a job is a scammer. Okay, so here are some ways to protect yourself and others in your life from scammers. 1, don't respond to unexpected calls, emails, texts, or social media messages that ask for money or personal information. 2, take your time. Honest organizations will give you time to make a decision. Anyone who pressures you to pay or give them your information is a scammer. 3, never pay someone who insists you can only pay with a gift card, a wire transfer, cryptocurrency, or a payment app. And 4, talk to someone you trust. Talking about it can help you realize it was a scam. It can also help others learn about and avoid the scam too. Okay, so where can you report fraud? This piece is really important in the fight against scams, because scammers don't just scam one person. So if you see or experience a fraud, scam, or any other bad business practices, help your campus community, help protect your friends and your family by reporting it to the FTC. Every time you file a report with the FTC, you give a piece of the puzzle that helps us build cases, stop scammers, and also alert others about the current trends. In just a few short steps, you can report fraud in English at reportfraud.ftc.gov, in Spanish at reportefraude@ftc.gov. And if you want to report fraud in other languages besides English and Spanish, you can call 877-382-4357 and choose option 3 to talk with an interpreter who will help make the report. Okay, so sometimes no matter how careful we are, we still wind up paying a scammer. If that happens, the most important thing to do is act quickly. You want to start by contacting the company that you used to send the money. Tell them that it was fraud and you want their help to get your money back. And if you act as soon as you realize you paid a scammer, and depending on how you paid, you might be able to recover at least some of your money. Okay, so now that we've talked about scams, let's go into identity theft. Okay, so scammers want your money, but they also want personal and financial information to commit identity theft. Identity theft happens when someone uses your information without your permission to do things that benefit themselves. things like buying stuff with your credit cards, getting new credit cards in your name, opening a phone, electricity, or gas account in your name, using your health insurance to get medical care, or getting unemployment benefits. They may also use your information to get a job, steal your tax refund, or even pretend to be you if they're arrested. Okay, so now let me tell you a few ways we know that thieves get people's personal information. Unfortunately, there's a lot of ways it can happen. Maybe a thief stole your wallet or phone, or your online accounts got hacked, your information was compromised in a data breach, which gave the bad guys access to your credit cards or online banking account. A data breach exposes your information, but identity theft happens if someone actually misuses it. You don't need to file an identity theft report unless that happens. And I'll talk about reporting identity theft a little bit later. Some thieves even search mailboxes and dumpsters to find your information, which could give bad guys access to your credit cards or online banking account. So spotting the signs of identity theft early can help you act quickly. But how do you know if someone's stolen your identity? Here are some things to do and look out for. One, you want to read your bills. Do you see charges for things that you didn't buy? Are there withdrawals in your bank statements that you didn't make? Those could be a sign of identity theft. Second, you want to check your mail, which might be at your campus or home address. Did you stop getting a bill, or did you get a bill for an account you never opened? Or a letter about an employee you don't recognize? Again, those are signs that someone might have stolen your identity. And then lastly, get your credit report. Credit reports list things like car loans, mortgages, and credit cards. If there are things that you don't recognize, they could be mistakes and you'll want to have those fixed. But they could also be signs of identity theft. To check your credit report, you can get a free copy every week from each of the 3 credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, at annualcreditreport.com. Okay, so we've talked about signs of identity theft to look out for, but now you're probably asking, how can I protect myself from identity theft? I can tell you that the number one thing that you can do right after this presentation is create a credit to protect against unauthorized access to your credit file. That makes it harder for thieves to open accounts in your name. And it's a pretty strong protection. While a credit freeze is in place on your credit report, nobody can open a credit account in your name. To place a freeze, you can contact each of the 3 credit bureaus, again, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, and you can find their contact information and more info on how to do a credit freeze at ftc.gov/credit freeze. And on the side, on the site of each of the credit bureaus, you'll need to provide your identification number, including your social security number, to set up a freeze. It is free to place a credit freeze and it lasts until you lift it. And it's also free to lift it. If you need to apply for credit, rent an apartment, buy insurance, you can temporarily lift the freeze, then put it back when you're done. Okay, so if you find out that someone is using your information, go to identitytheft.gov and get a personalized step-by-step recovery plan. To report in Spanish, visit rogodeidentidad.gov. Or to report identity theft in other languages, you can call 877-438-4338 and select option 3 to talk to an interpreter who will help make the report. All right, so now I want to jump into some free resources on spotting and avoiding scams. All right, so one resource I want to highlight is consumer.gov, or consumidor.gov in Spanish. Consumer.gov gives people what they need to know on topics like managing money, using credit, dealing with debt, paying for school, and avoiding scams and identity theft. The articles are easy to navigate and are written in clear, plain language to help users navigate some key consumer decisions while also giving advice to help protect their money and personal information. And in addition to English and Spanish, you'll also find information in simplified Chinese, Korean, and Vietnamese. All right, so if you'd like to share some of the information we discussed today with fellow students or others in your campus community, you can order free print publications that also include free shipping from our bulk order website. This includes the resources you see here on the screen and so many more, and you can order as many copies as you need. It's all free. Usually shipping takes 3 to 4 weeks. sometimes a little bit sooner, but that's a good kind of time frame to plan for. So definitely encourage you to check out those resources. You can also print out anything there as a PDF if you just need a smaller quantity or you need it sooner. So that's another option as well. Okay, so scams are always changing, and the best way to keep up with the latest trends the FTC is seeing is to sign up for consumer alerts at ftc.gov/consumer alerts or ftc.gov/alertas the consumidor in Spanish. And please encourage other students, faculty, and staff you know to sign up as well. And that actually just kind of wraps up my presentation. I went through it a little faster than expected. But thanks for your time and attention, and happy to take questions.
Thank you so much, Ari.
Thanks.
We really appreciate it. Did you have a question, John?
I had no questions, but I just wanted to thank you for your time and for the
Yes.
helpful presentation. So yeah, thank you very much.
I
Yeah,
learned a lot, so I really appreciate it, Ari. So thank you so much for bringing this information to us. This was very insightful. I learned a lot. We really, really appreciate you, and we appreciate all the participants in today's event. Yeah.
great. Thank you so much.